Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for giving me a screen. I will talk again about biomass and lignosulfurous waste. And now today I talk about ideas for mostly for fuels, so ethanol and biobutanol, which seems to be very good fuels. I based on works of Ahmed and Raghauskas, and today will be this work was published in Journal of Fuels, the most one of the reading journal in Elsevier about production of fuels, energy, and much worse, and that is why we are thinking of replacing, because especially after this COVID times, it shows how that we overtake the biomass and wildlife. We leave some viruses like COVID, and that is dangerous. And we produce much pollution, and we need to replace because our natural source are losing. And little source is such a waste originated from human cultivating waste and of plants and wood industry like furniture. And we need also to make from them the fuels, because otherwise, if we don't make good, efficient pathways of producing fuels after multiplication of fossil fuels, which were also primitive biomass. So it's given to human by some time, by previous generation of organisms. Storage of biomass, all biomass from carbon era, for us, used by us, by too much, and releasing this carbon dioxide that causes the global warming, and our life is more uncertainty. We need to converse our treatment. We, the biologicals, contain cellulose and hemicellulose, that and lignin, that we need to fraction by pretreatment because enzymes if are unsecure. In case of plant, this helps to resist from unfriendly conditions and other animals. Because look at the tree. The tree grows, and this bark, which is lignosus, protect tree from other waste. So after waste still has this characteristics. We use this to make furniture to have resist. But sometimes is a waste. The straw is waste. We need to fall and stay and unused and polluting the environment, or use it to less pollute it and recycle to overcome demands of growing population. Of course, the biomass would be sufficient only if we don't have people number below 13 billion of people. Over this, we are very big dangers. There are several processes: physical, chemical, biological, thermal, and using chemical is acid, basic, and ionic liquids and agents. The trouble are crystallinity, because in case of biological, crystallinity is less favored for making anaerobic digestion, drug fermentation. After pretreatment, we need to use and break this crystallization if it is in a plant in this selected ways. And others are that lignin derivatives are also so quite inhibiting other processes that needs to remove. Resolagauskas gives you the siren process, which is result of hydrogenation of pyrolysis, which is stem of cellulose. Therefore, there are some techniques, and this is use of hydrogen in low for dark fermentation for making, utilizing the project, the waste from lignocellulose, all waste. So important are methane and hydrogen, and ethanol and biophenols, and the biochars, which are also can be by pyrolysis, are also used as method to produce the alkanes and raw material for polymers and as fertilizer. And one of them of biofuels are ethanols, as I mentioned. The ethanol is especially good thinking when we use the treatment of microwave pyrolysis and ultrasound assisted alkali, according to this to Das et al. Then this is cause because microwave the pyrolysis is using breaking of bonding, cleavage bonding by energy from microwave. And in case we have many residues which are originally better on low, because in European we have wheat straw, in case of Indonesia is rice straw, both are waste, lignocellulose waste that needs to be utilized, is major waste. Also some less. And we can use this to replace traditional methods. There are several part reactors. In case of pyrolysis, we need to packed bed and catalytic usually. So these methods are well designed from other, because we have in plastic pyrolysis, in the tires pyrolysis, and we can use this technique also to biomass, because and even this biomass as lignocellulose can be used to produce the items like tires or plastics from these jars. And then economically, we need to put method that is not too high. The hydrothermal use all quite a lot of energy, and this is why mechanical use quite sharp metal cutting edge, which are not but not separated enough efficient, and this causing that our plants are sources, and we can mix with some sewage treatment, but unlikely. The hemicellulose is one of biopolymers which contains both hexoses and pentoses, unlike cellulose. So we can use this as source of pentoses. Not only hexoses that carries glucose, cellulose. Therefore, it depends of kind, because softwood contain less hemicellulose than herbaceous, but in case of softwood, we have the higher content of lignin, and cellulose during pyrolysis is unlikely to be by acidic, so only by basic solution is quite efficient, and therefore chemical needs to be selected to the kind of waste. So while cellulose is more small to energy current, because easily breaks after separation to one glucose and origin for making. And there are some techniques using modified bacteria to produce high modifier and enzyme modifier to produce hydrogen from dark fermentation in high effect, because if we go by glucose and butyric acid, we don't have such naturally high efficiency, only 33% in best solution, because hydrogen production can be used from dark fermentation, but in 3 pathways, as you remember, butyric and acetic, but butyric is more likely. This is because Tower rule limitation, this limits only to energy of Gibbs energy, which is only negative in butyric in an acetic way, in shifting to butyric because lower Gibbs energy. The lignin is most difficult, and this lignin is not even polysaccharides, is mixture of polysaccharides and other compounds, and glycolides, Greek fats, terpenes, and phenolics. It is in biothermally, we need to separate lignin and have this efficiently to get this compound, because it can be useful in medicine and pharmacy, and even to fight with microbial insects. So can be safe herbicide, and sometimes can be used to produce bio-oil as lubricant, because this compounds has good lubricity. And we see the pretreatment simple. So physical, chemical, psychophysical, and biological. Biological is enzymatic for using mushrooms, and these are white or black suit, which are not so high, so there needs to be in chemical, physical, and chemical processes. The chemical require less temperature than physical chemical, but are also refused. And And now also are some irradiation techniques. So pre-treatment by irradiation, so using, this is some Chinese from Liu professor, and he uses radiation methods for gamma rays to break this. It's not very used anyway because most people are afraid of this, using these methods. In case of mechanical, is in case very useful in case of biogas techniques or producing methane, but in other cases are not very well investigated, and proper mechanical technique is investigated for optimal conditions. Pyrolysis is quite well because after we get many charges and is quite efficient, but it requires much energy. And some people that requires more energy that is can be. So these are key problems, and biofuels can be by different techniques used. And I see that my time is going further. So in case of physical, we need to its trouble is high temperature energy. If we use extrusion, this causes limited flowability, and it's inefficient product refinery. In case of chemical, we have actually fight with cost of a reagent and much use of water and needs for corrosion-resistant materials to use in vessels, and much inhibitory production. In case of biological, is low yield. So we need to combine these two every techniques to make optimal technique. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening to me.